Okay. Good morning and welcome to the class, and thank you for connecting on Facebook and also on YouTube. I hope that you will enjoy the class. Maybe it's difficult, but little by little we will try to help you learn English. That's the objective. It's a free class and hopefully you can learn a little, and we'll focus on an article today. You can see here an article in relation to a movie. So the movie is Nomadland. It's a very famous movie and I think it's very successful. So the idea today is to focus on the vocabulary, the expressions, the grammar, and really to help in relation to English and the explanations. Okay, so that's the plan for today. On the left, you can see the plan for the week. In the morning at 9 o'clock, we have the speaking class. The speaking session is available to practice every morning at 9 o'clock. And we have a group to practice speaking for conversation, different topics. And that's the plan every morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Today at 4 o'clock, we have a specific class, a specific webinar, Business English today at 4 o'clock. And people are welcome to join this class as well. So that's the plan. And probably next week, it'll be the same structure. Okay. So the same structure most weeks, speaking in the morning, free class now, and a webinar in the afternoon. Okay. So first, this document I want to show you is the key. This is a very, very important document. Okay, there are the basics of English, and this is the foundation document, the most important document. So for me, there are three areas. The first area is use of English. The second area are the tenses. Okay, and the third area is grammar. So these topics are the most important topics in relation to English. And when you study English, it's necessary you are very familiar with these terms. It's very, very important when you learn English for the first time, you are very, very familiar with these concepts. Okay, so this is very, very important document. And at the beginning, we have accents. So in Ireland, we have a particular accent. In London, there's a particular accent. In England, in Manchester, Liverpool, Scotland, United States, very, very different accents. And that's very difficult when you learn English. So for this reason, it's a very important topic, the accents, okay? Different dialects, different vocabulary. So it's very hard to understand different people, and that's extremely a big challenge, okay? So I try to help in this class with the vocabulary, with the expressions, but the accents are a big part as well. The next section are the phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs are very important category in English. It's the verb and a preposition. And it's possible literal, but it's also possible a second, completely different significance. And this is the list of phrasal verbs. We have thousands and thousands of phrasal verbs, and they're very, very important. And little by little, it's necessary to learn the phrasal verbs. We have a lot of phrasal verbs, so they're really important, okay? Idioms also are very important, like expressions in conversation with family, with friends, in work. We use expressions and idioms all the time. Okay, so we have thousands of idioms, and this area is very, very important. Okay, so this is a very important area. Also conversation. It's necessary you try to practice conversation, practice, and also pronunciation. During the class, I try to help specifically with pronunciation. So it is very important that you try to practice conversation, and also in the class, I try to help with pronunciation, because in English we have some difficult vocabulary for pronunciation, and for this reason I want to try to help. Okay, the next category are tenses. So in English we have different times. We speak in the present, we speak in the past, we speak in the future. So when you learn English, it's necessary you understand the different concepts and the different tenses. So we have the present simple, which is one action you do in the present. We have the past simple, which is one action in the past finished. And we have the future simple. Okay, you can see the category here, the simple. But in the past, we have a lot of irregular verbs in the past. And this is really difficult because the verbs are irregular verbs in the past. For example, drink, drank, eat, ate. We have a lot of irregular verbs, and this is a big difficulty. Okay, the next idea is the continuous. The present continuous, I am eating. The past continuous, I was eating. The future continuous, I will be eating. So we have the simple, the continuous. The next idea is the perfect. We have the present perfect and the past perfect. We also have the future perfect. So it's very technical, especially at the beginning. If it's your first time to learn English, it's very, very difficult and very technical. But this document is very, very technical, but it's necessary at the beginning to explain the vocabulary and to explain the structure. Okay, so you have the present perfect and the past perfect. Also, the idea of the infinitive is the base of the verb: to go, to eat, to drink, to have, to talk. This is the infinitive, and it's very, very important. Okay. Also, conditionals. In the book, the conditionals are very heavy. The conditionals have a lot of theory. We have the 0, first, second, third, mixed conditional, and they are very common and they're very important. But in reality, it's a little less strict and it's a little more relaxing. For example, I will go to the city center if it stops raining. So this is the conditional, and it's a very important area. Okay, so it's very important you read and you study the different topics, because that's the best way to improve and the best way to understand English. You need to study the topics here. For example, the simple, perfect, continuous, infinitive, and conditionals. And finally, we have the active and the passive. And the structure of the active and the passive, you can see, is the man kicked the ball. That's the active, the man kicked the ball. And then the passive, we change the position. The ball was kicked by the man. It's very advanced, very fluent, very typical, but that concept is called the active and the passive, and it's very important. Okay, so the next final section is the grammar section. So in English, we have a noun, and a noun is like a person, a place, or a thing. For example, bottle, television, movie. Every noun, we have an article, a movie or the movie. Okay, so that's important for the article. We have the concept of countable and uncountable. Is it possible to count or is it not possible? For example, water. It's not possible to count. One water, no. Two waters, no. One glass of water, one bottle of water. So we have the concept of countable and uncountable, and this is important in relation to how much and how many. Okay. Adjectives. The function of the adjective is to describe the noun, and the position of the adjective is before the noun. For example, bottle, big bottle. House, big, small, red house. Okay, so the adjective is before the noun and the function is to describe the noun. Also, we have the comparative and the superlative with the adjective. So this house is big, the other house is bigger than this house, the next house is the biggest. This area is comparative and superlative. So this is the technical explanation. This page is the technical page. So it's important at the beginning to show you the technical vocabulary, because during the class, I mention and I reference the technical vocabulary. Okay. Adverb. So the function of the adverb is to describe the verb, and typically the adverb is ly, quickly, slowly, happily, rapidly. That's the adverb, and the function is to describe the verb. Drink, drink quickly. Talk, talk slowly. So the adverb is very, very important, and modal verbs are very important as well. So the modal verbs in English, we have, for example, can, could, may, might, shall, must, ought to. They're very, very important, and we use them in different situations. And similar to the conditional, it's very important you prepare and you study the modal verbs. Also, prepositions. In English, we have a lot of prepositions in relation to position. For example, the computer is on the table, the computer is in the room. And for position and movement, okay, I walk across the road, and direction, I talk to you or I look at the television. So for direction, movement, and position, prepositions are very, very important. Also, with phrasal verbs, we use the preposition with the phrasal verb to make a second significance. Also, we have this area here, very technical: possessive adjective, possessive pronoun, or personal object or object pronoun. For example, the difference between my hat, your hat, his hat, her hat, or the hat is mine, the hat is yours, the hat is his, the hat is hers, or give the hat to me, give the hat to you, give the hat to him, and give the hat to her. So it's very, very important you're clear with that area. The difference between this, that, these, and those is important. The difference between another, other, the other, and the others is important. How to make the questions. The area of suffix and prefix is very important, and the conjunctions or the linkers is also key, and vocabulary. So to improve your vocabulary, the best way to improve is to read. You really need to read a lot, and magazines, newspapers, books, it's necessary. You read, and this is the best way to improve your vocabulary and the best way to learn English structures. So reading is very important. Writing is another skill that's key, and exams are very popular. So we have specific webinars, specific classes dedicated to preparation for exams, and everybody is welcome to join the specific classes. Okay, so that's the introduction. A bit difficult, very, very technical, and very, very heavy, but most schools are the same. Most schools have the same document. Most schools have the same material. Most teachers are the same. So that document is very important, and it's necessary when you learn English. It's necessary, that document, to understand perfectly. Okay. Now I want to begin with the article. So this is the article from the newspaper. You can see the newspaper is The Guardian, which is very, very popular, and it's a film or a movie review. And it's very, very good quality. Normally the reviews are very good quality. So this article is probably advanced, very advanced vocabulary, very fluent, very good quality. And for this reason, it's a very good exercise to analyze the vocabulary. So you can see here, the movie is Nomadland. And I think it's a very, very popular, successful movie. I think it won a lot of Oscars last week, and this is the review, and it's the film of the week. So maybe it's interesting. So first, I will read a little just to practice pronunciation, and then after I will explain the vocabulary. Okay, so Nomadland review. Frances McDormand delivers the performance of her life. Okay, and 5 stars, so a fantastic movie. McDormand plays a boomer forced out of her home and onto the road in Chloe Zhao's inspired docu-fiction. Okay, Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, is an utterly inspired docu-fictional hybrid. Like her previous feature, The Rider, it's a gentle, compassionate, questioning film about the American soul. Okay, with artistry and grace, Zhao folds non-professionals into an imagined story built around a cheerful, resourceful, middle-aged woman played by Frances McDormand. This quiet, self-effacing performance may be the best of her career so far. Okay, not too difficult. 1 or 2 important structures, but not too difficult in my opinion. The next paragraph, Nomadland is about a new phenomenon. America's 60 and 70-something generation whose economic future was shattered by the 2008 crash or 2008 crash. They are grey-haired, middle-class strivers, okay, reduced to poverty, who can't or cannot afford to retire, but can't afford to work while maintaining a home. So they have become nomads, a new American tribe roaming the country in camper vans in which they sleep, looking for seasonal work in bars, restaurants, and in this film, in a gigantic Amazon warehouse in Nevada, which takes the place of the agricultural work searched for by itinerant workers in stories such as The Grapes of Wrath. And Zhao was even allowed to film inside one of Amazon's eerie service industry cathedrals. Okay. And one final paragraph just for pronunciation. So the film shows you that along with the hardship and the heartache, there is also serenity in this way of life, even a kind of euphoria. Without the burdens of a house and possessions, you can have a glorious and very American freedom in the lost tradition of Emerson and Twain. But what happens if your van or your body shows signs of collapse? Okay, so that's 4 paragraphs just for pronunciation. Not too difficult, but very, very good quality vocabulary. And I hope you understand more or less the sentiment. I hope you understand the context. So now I just want to focus on specific vocabulary to explain. And here already we have a boomer. So McDormand plays a boomer, and the verb to boom is to increase very, very fast. Okay, so we can say maybe a property boom, which is a dramatic increase in the price of property or the popularity of property. So a boom is very, very good. So for example, the economy is booming, and that means it's very, very successful. Okay, so if the economy is booming, it's a very, very rich economy, and it's a very successful economy. And here, a boomer is an expression in English. We say a baby boomer, and it's a generation of people. So for example, we have Generation X, Generation Y, millennials. This is the vocabulary we use to describe a specific generation of people. So for me, I think maybe Generation X, I don't know, but there are millennials, there are baby boomers, and I think a baby boomer are people who are maybe now 50, 60, 70, because after the war, I think there was a big increase in babies. And this is the significance of a baby boomer. It represents a generation of people in the United States. Okay, so here it's a boomer forced out, okay, of her home. So the verb to force out means to remove someone. Okay, so to force someone out is possible in a company if the people are not happy with the worker. The majority of the people are not happy with one person. The majority of the people force this person out. So it's to make this person leave. And in this situation, this lady, she was forced out of her house. She had no choice. Maybe the bank forced her out of the house. So the typical preposition, the typical combination to force somebody out. Okay. Preposition on, to is specific with the road. Okay, so we say to hit the road maybe, and to hit the road is to start your journey. Okay, so to start your travel, to start your journey, you need to hit the road. And the preposition typical of the road is on the road, because it's a surface, on the wall, on the television, on the body, on the head, on the laptop, on the radio. So for surface, we use on, and that's very important as well. Okay, and docu-fiction is a bit unusual. Normally it's related to documentary, and the pronunciation is very important. So a documentary is a movie with maybe historical information. In Espanol, documental, but in English it's a documentary, and the pronunciation is very, very important. So you're watching a documentary and the pronunciation is really key. But here it's a mix of a documentary and fiction, because normally the documentary is reality, but in this situation it's a combination of the documentary and the fiction. So for this reason it's important. Okay, so in the first sentence we have a very, very important word, utterly. So Chloe says, this is possession. For example, Brian's pen, Brian's bottle, that's possession. Nomadland is the movie, so it's the possession of the director. Is the verb to be. Utterly is the adjective. This is the article, and the movie is, sorry, the hybrid is the noun. Remember, noun, article, adjective. So here we have 1, 2, 3 adjectives. It's possible, but here we have 3 adjectives: docu-fictional, utterly, inspired. Okay, and inspired I think is understandable. Docu-fictional I have explained, but utterly is very important. And we say an utter mess, and that means a total mess. So it's possible to say an utter mess, and the significance is a total mess. Adverb, you can say I am utterly happy in Ireland, and that means totally. So here we have the ly, and the ly is typically the adverb. And remember, the function of the adverb is to describe the verb, and the verb here is to be. So I am utterly happy, I am utterly content, and it means totally happy in Ireland. Okay, so it's good vocabulary, very advanced, very fluent. There's a second possibility, the verb to utter, which is almost the same to say. So if you utter something, it's the same to say something. Okay, and very advanced, very good quality English. And we say an utterance is maybe something that you say. Okay, difficult vocabulary, not the same. Say is more general, everybody uses say, but to utter is a bit more advanced and a bit more creative. Okay, but in this situation it means totally. It is an absolutely inspired docu-fictional hybrid, and the hybrid is the mix. So it's typical for the car, the mix of the car with petrol and electricity. It's a hybrid, okay? Like our previous feature, and this is difficult as well, because a feature movie is possible vocabulary, but the verb to feature is like to participate. So you feature in the movie, that means you play a part in the movie. You feature in your friend's life, so you are a part of your friend's life. And as I said, it could be to play a part, difficult. And for example, the music, Beyonce has the album, Beyonce has the song, and the song features Pitbull. So Pitbull is part of the song. So it's not the protagonist, but just a little, okay? And here, her previous movie, her previous production is the same as a feature, okay? The writer, it's a gentle. So this is the subject, it, the verb is to be. This is the article. So it is a, so again, article, we need the substantivo or the noun. And again, here we have the noun is the film. So it is a film, but adjective, gentle, compassionate, adjective, questioning, adjective, 3 adjectives. Okay, so very, very descriptive. And in a review, this is typical. So gentle is possible for a person. The person is very gentle. You can say gentleman. It's typical for masculine. It's unusual to say gentlewoman. We normally say a lady. So she's a lady. The opposite is a gentleman. Okay, you can say a gentle giant, and that means a big person, very, very tall, very big, but they're very sympathetic. They're very, very nice. Okay, and I suppose we have one expression. We say gently does it, and that means go slow. So if you're moving the furniture, if you're moving the sofa to another room, gently does it. You need to be very gentle. You need to be very calm. You need to be very easy with moving the furniture. So gently does it is typical as well. So here we've 3 adjectives: gentle, compassionate, questioning film about the American soul. Okay, so soul in Spanish is alma. So your soul is like your spirit. You have your alma, your spirit. And we have a lot of possible context with the soul. But remember, there's another word that's completely different. We say the sole of your shoes, which is completely different. So for your shoes on your feet, you have your shoes or your runners or your sneakers or your trainers. And this trainers or the shoes have the sole. So the sole of the runner is the bottom part of the runner. But in this situation, it's completely different. Your soul is your alma, in your spirit. Okay, you can say maybe the city is very soulless, and that means there's no life, there's no atmosphere, there's no spirit in the city because it's empty because of the pandemic. It's soulless. To take your, it saps your soul, maybe. So that's a very difficult verb, to sap, and it means to, similar to absorb. So if it saps your energy, it saps your soul, it takes your soul. Okay, difficult. But good vocabulary for sure. So here it's the American spirit, the American soul. Artistry is the adjective. Grace, another adjective. Zao is the person or the subject. The verb is to fold. Okay, and the verb to fold is typical with your arms. So for example, to fold your arms is this action. Okay, after the washing, if you fold the clothes, that's possible as well. And doblar in español, para doblar los ropas. Okay, but it is possible in another situation. You can say the company has folded, and the significance is closed. So if the company folds, the significance the company closes and it's finished. Okay, you can say maybe to close or to go bankrupt. That's very typical as well. So also in poker, you play poker, and if you fold, you finish because you cannot continue. So you have to fold. Okay. We say to fold in poker, the game. And also with pressure, if you have a lot of pressure in your job, pressure, and eventually you fold, that means you have a problem. And for example, the child and the parent, and the child has a lot of pressure for the parent, for the party. Can I go to the party? Can I go to the party? Constant pressure. And finally, the father or the mother folds, and they say, okay, you can go to the party. So to fold under pressure is possible as well. And I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's raining a lot here at the moment. We say raining cats and dogs. We say bucketing rain, bucketing down. That's description of the rain. It's very, very heavy. So that's another possibility. Or you can say lashing rain, which means very, very heavy rain. So really heavy rain at the moment, and probably you can hear it, but good vocabulary. And I think they're the most typical vocabulary, the typical expressions with fold. We have another possibility. We say the story unfolds, okay? And that means like desarrollar, to develop. So you have the story and it unfolds, it happens, it occurs, okay? Occurs, happens, develops. Very, very good vocabulary. And I think they are the most typical expressions with the fold. And in this situation, it's very complicated, very advanced. Artistry and grace, the director folds non-professionals into an imagined story. So it's like poner, to put, or she mixes, mixclar or poner, to put or to mix. So it's very difficult, but basically the preposition here, into, is connected with fold. For example, you're at the dinner with your tissue or your serviette or your handkerchief. At the dinner, you have your serviette and you fold the serviette into a horse. And that means you make the animal from the serviette. So it's just a preposition connected with fold. Built around is very, very possible as well in other situations. So for example, your life, you build your life around, construct your life around the dog. So the dog is the most important animal in your life. The most important thing in your life is the dog, and you build your life around the dog. So the dog is maybe the center of your universe, okay? And that means the dog is the most important part of your life. It's the center of your universe. It's the center of your world. It's the most important part, okay? So to build your life around somebody, to build is to construct your life around. Cheerful is a good adjective as well. So here we have the article. Remember, another article, a or the. So the article, we need the noun, and the noun here is a woman. And we have 1, 2, 3 more adjectives. Incredible. This is very unusual, but here we have a lot of adjectives. And for a movie review, it's typical to have a lot of description, a lot of adjectives. And here, cheerful, resourceful, middle-aged, 3 adjectives. But a is the article and the noun is woman. Okay, so cheerful is very, very important as well, because cheerful is an adjective. For example, if the person is very cheerful, they're very positive. Okay, a very cheerful person is a very, very positive person. And we have the verb as well, to cheer somebody up, and that means to make the other person happy. So for example, you're very sad today because of the weather, you're very, very sad, and your friend cheers you up, they make you happy. Okay, but a cheerful person is a very happy person. Okay, a cheerful person. And maybe you can say as well cheery, and that means an adjective as well, a very happy, a very positive person. Very, very good vocabulary. And here the woman is very positive, very happy. Resourceful is very important as well. So a resource in Spanish is recurso, tienes recursos, pero in inglés es a resource. Okay, it's something you need. So the adjective, the person is very resourceful. This means the person is very adaptable. The person is very intelligent with the material. The person can create different objects with different things. So very efficient, very resourceful. For example, I have my book, my bottle, and my pen. So I can make something or be very productive with my things. So I'm very resourceful. I can maximize my resources. So very good vocabulary. And here we have the hyphen. So this little line is called a hyphen in English. And the function of the hyphen is to connect 2 words. When you connect 2 words to make one word, the hyphen connects the 2 words. So here we have middle and aged, middle-aged, 2 completely different words, but with the hyphen, it's possible to connect the 2. So you are middle-aged, I am middle-aged, basically means you're 40 years old, 50 years old. So it's related to your age. So if you're a middle-aged person, you're maybe in your 40s or 50s, okay? And here it's exactly the same. Again, we have this. Remember the difference. This is position. This is singular. That is singular in a different position. These is plural and those is plural. Completely depends on position. For example, this pen, that pen, these pens, plural, and those pens, plural. So very, very important. So here it's singular and it's here because it's the lady we speak about. Again, adjective, quiet, self-effacing, adjective, two adjectives, and the substantivo is performance. So this performance, so you can see the adjectives and the substantivo. Quiet is no problem. You just need to be careful with the spelling. Como deletrear es un poco difícil para deletrear. So it's Q-U-I-E-T, that's quiet, like tranquil, like calm. And the second word is completely different, quite, okay? And quite in Spanish is like bastante. So estás bastante feliz in Inglaterra. You are quite happy in Dublin, in England. So quite is like bastante. It's possible as well, rather, like bastante también. Estás bastante feliz. You are rather happy. You are quite happy. Okay, and the next adjective is very difficult, but very, very good. So if you are self-effacing, so probably it's related to the face, cara. Okay, so if you're self-effacing, you make a joke about yourself. You're comfortable to laugh. You're comfortable to joke about yourself. So if I am self-effacing, I can joke about myself or I can laugh about myself, okay? Other adjectives here, maybe humble, como humilde, estás muy humilde. In English is you are a very humble person, okay? Adjective again. We have another expression, we say to eat humble pie, and that's an expression when you need to say sorry, you need to apologize, you need to eat humble pie because maybe you're very arrogant, you're very confident, but in reality, the next moment, you have a difficult moment, so you need to be humble, muy humilde, okay? Good, and then the next one as well is the verb, is the substantivo performance, because the verb is to perform, and creo que en español es como rendir, okay? I creo que es rendir in español, to perform. So in work, you need to perform your job. En tu trabajo necesitas rendir. No sé es posible, pero en inglés it's possible. In your job, you need to perform. You need to perform very well. On sport, the football player needs to perform, needs to be very, very good. And the substantivo is a performance. Okay, for example, high performance, rendimiento, creo que es rendimiento. Okay, so here, in relation to the theater, in relation to the movie, it's the performance by the actor. Very good vocabulary and very, very good English. And then there is another possibility to underperform. This is when your performance is very low. For example, in work, you have no sleep, no energy, you are very tired and you underperform. Normally, your performance is very good, you're very efficient, you're very productive, but today, no sleep, no energy, you underperform. Good vocabulary. May is a possibility. Remember the modal verb, may, could, might. So they're for possibilities. I might go to the cinema. It's a possibility. I may go to the cinema. I could go to the cinema. So here the performance might be, could be, may be, exactly the same. May is possibly a little more formal, but the significance is exactly the same. It's a possibility. Maybe the best of her career so far. Remember, this is the adjective, possessive adjective, my career, your career, his career, masculine, her career, feminine. And career in English is very, very important because in English, career is professional. Your career is a doctor, your career is a teacher, that's your career. In Spanish, mi carrera es para universidad, creo que es más por estudios. But in English, career is more professional and studies is typical in university. Maybe your academic career, but in English, your career is more professional, your professional job. Okay, so very, very important. And so far means until this moment, hasta ahora. Okay, so you are very today, I have eaten a lot of food so far. So that means I have eaten a lot of food until now, so far. We have another expression. We say so far, so good. So hasta ahora, todo está bien. Sorry for my Spanish, but so far so good. That means until now, everything is good. Okay, really, really good. We have another expression in relation to good, too good to be true. And that means something looks fantastic, something looks amazing, but probably in reality, there is a trick. And in reality, it's maybe very expensive or it's not good. So the appearance is very good, but the function, it doesn't function very well. So it's too good to be true. That's a famous expression as well. Okay, one paragraph. So you can see one paragraph and we have a lot of vocabulary, a lot of expressions, a lot of grammar from one paragraph. So this is very, very good practice. And the next paragraph is very interesting as well. So we can see a lot of vocabulary. It's a long paragraph. So the first word for me, a nomad, is a very, very good word. So a nomad is the person with no home. Okay, maybe you can say a traveler. You can say an itinerant is the traveling person, maybe that with no house. Maybe it's different from homeless. Homeless, you have no home, but a nomad maybe lives in a small area, small place. So there is a small difference. And a nomad is basically the person with no home. Okay, and this movie is related to this type of person. So the movie Nomadland is about, so it's the verb, subject, verb, and then preposition. Article, and remember the article, we have the noun phenomenon, and the adjective is new, and the position of the adjective is before the noun. Okay, America's 60 or 70 something, and remember the hyphen. You remember the purpose and the function of the hyphen connects the two words to make one word. That's the purpose of the hyphen. 70 something. So if you are 70 something, it's possibly 71, 72, 73, I don't know, 70 something. That's a very typical expression. I am 30 something. I don't know, 31, 38, 30 something. So that's a typical expression as well. Whose, in Espanol, it's cuyos, and it's difficult, but for example, for possession, this pen, whose pen is this? So for possession, I don't know the owner of the pen, so it's necessary I say whose pen is this. I think in Spanish it's cuyos. In Portuguese, I hope it's similar as well. Economic future, no problem. Adjective is economic, future is the noun. Verb here is very, very good verb, to shatter. Okay, really, really good. The verb is to shatter, very difficult. But here we have the extra verb to be and the participle. Okay, this structure, the verb to be in the auxiliary plus the participle is the passive and the active. You remember in the introduction, we had the active and the passive. I drink the coffee. The coffee is drunk by me. So this structure is the passive, and basically the subject is the crash. So the crash destroyed your career. The economic crash destroyed your life in relation to your career. So your career was destroyed. And the verb to shatter is very, very similar to break, but it's more intense. And shatter is typical with glass. Okay, so for example, the glass, if you shatter the glass, you break the glass, but really, really destroy the glass. Okay, so you shatter the glass, you shatter the bottle, you can shatter your dreams. So it's a bit dramatic, but you mean destroy. Okay, so really very fluent English. And an adjective, shattered, is very typical. If you are very, very tired, you are shattered. So you're exhausted. Okay, so really, really tired, and very fluent, very typical English. And also with a record in sport, if you have the record, for example, 20 victories, that's the record, but the next team have 40 victories. So they break, they shatter the record. So it's possible to shatter a record, and it means to break. So it's really good vocabulary. And here the life or the future was shattered by the economic crash. Very good vocabulary. Again, hyphen. So two words, gray-haired. And if you connect the two, it's one adjective. You are gray-haired, I am gray-haired. Middle class, again, two different words, but with a hyphen, it's possible to combine. Middle class. Striver, very, very good. So here, they is the subject, are is the verb to be, they are, adjective, gray-haired, middle class. So two adjectives, 4 words, but 2 adjectives because of the hyphens. Strivers, this is the substantivo or the noun, okay, because it's very good. The verb to strive is basically to do your best. Very, very fluent, very advanced. So if you're striving to achieve something, you're doing your best, okay? You're doing your maximum. You're striving to win the competition. You're striving to pass the exam. You're striving, and a striver is not typical, but with this context, it's the person who does their best, okay? A person who is doing their maximum, doing their best, okay? So you're striving, you are doing your best. Very fluent English. Reduced to poverty, so they have nothing. And remember, poverty is very, very important as well because it's related to poor. Poor is the adjective and the noun is poverty. Okay, so for example, you live in poverty, they live in poverty, and the people are very, very poor, but you live in poverty as well. So the substantivo is poverty and the adjective is poor. So really good quality vocabulary. Can't is modal verb and it's related to ability. So you can, but the negative, you can't. And in formal English, normally when we write English, it should be cannot. Okay, so cannot is more typical and maybe more formal and more appropriate when you write. But here it's a bit more informal because it's a review, possibly, but it's the same, cannot afford. And the verb to afford is related to money. So your salary is €20 per day. That's your salary. So you cannot afford your dinner. You cannot afford the movie because the movie is too expensive. So you cannot afford. Okay. Very good vocabulary. Very, very important. And here the verb to retire is when you finish work and you retire. Jubilar in Espanol. In Portuguese, maybe it's the same. So the verb to retire is related to when you stop working. Okay, so to retire is to stop working. And again, can't afford to work while maintaining a home. Okay, tribe. So is like entonces, next day is the subject. Have become is the present perfect. So it started in the past, it's finished, but it's still related to the present. So they have become is the present perfect. And nomad. So again, they have transformed, they have become a nomad, a person with no home, because before they were very successful, but now because of the crash, they have become nomads. A new American tribe, which is very similar in Portuguese, very similar in Spanish. A tribe is maybe your family or your group. Roaming the country, very good expression. Okay, so to roam is to move, and it's like with no direction, with no home, you're roaming. Okay, you're free, but you've no control of your direction. You've no orientation. You're just roaming. Okay, for example, the fox is roaming the streets, and this means the fox is moving on the street, no direction, no home, just one place, next place. That's very important. Also with the telephone, it's definitely very possible roaming. So with the connection on the telephone, if you're in Ireland and you travel to Spain, you travel to London, you travel to Italy, you have a special package, roaming. So that's the specific vocabulary for the technology, for the phone. When you travel, you have roaming, okay? Very good vocabulary to roam, really, really good. Camper van is very important as well. So the van is a type of vehicle. So you have a car and then you have a big van for transport for the company. It's a big van, but the verb to camp is when you are in the forest, you camp. So you have the tent and you camp. So a camper van is the special vehicle that you can sleep in the vehicle. So that's a camper van. So very, very good vocabulary. And in which, so this is the relative pronoun. So they sleep, okay? They sleep in the camper van. They look for seasonal work, like temporary work, bars, restaurants, and in this film, in a gigantic, which means enormous. So the preposition is important in for the warehouse. So the warehouse is like the big factory, but the factory produces the product. The warehouse just maintains the product or stores or keeps the product. So this is the warehouse, and the factory is a little different because the factory produces. Okay, and again, the preposition is important because you are inside in the warehouse. Okay, takes the place of, which means to substitute. So if I take the place of my friend, I substitute for my friend. For the food, the sugar, I love the sugar, but the sweetener, the product, the artificial product takes the place of the sugar. So it substitutes or replaces. And here it's the same. The new nomads take the place of the typical agricultural worker, like the itinerant workers. Okay. In stories such as, so the word such as is, for example, I have a lot of hobbies such as swimming, tennis, dancing. That's your hobby. So such as is for example or like. Very important. You can say such as, you can say like, you can say for example, you can say for instance. So really, really good vocabulary. The grapes of the wrath, that's difficult as well. So to face someone's wrath, this is the expression when somebody is very, very angry. Okay, if you face someone's wrath, that means you face someone's anger. The person is extremely angry, but you need to face the wrath. Very advanced, very fluent. And in this expression, it's just the name of the movie. Okay, the final word is eerie. So Amazon is possession. Cathedral is the substantivo. So it's the cathedral of possession of Amazon. Eerie is the adjective. Service industry maybe is another adjective, and you can see the hyphen, but eerie is key, and eerie is a very, very good adjective, and the significance is very, very quiet, very scary. So you know the situation when it's so quiet that something is strange, so it's very eerie. Everything is quiet, but you're very suspicious. Okay, so it's an eerie silence. So everything is quiet, but you're very afraid. So an eerie silence. So that's really, really good quality vocabulary. And for me, this second paragraph, again, so not too difficult, but one or two or three very, very good vocabulary. And then finally, hardship. So the film shows you that along with, it's like con, it's the same as with. So I go to the party with my friend, I go to the party along with my friend, exactly the same, maybe a bit more emphasis for parallel, but it's practically the same. And here it's maybe a little more formal, but the hardship is like the difficulty. So if you have a lot of hardship, the significance is you have a lot of difficulty. Okay, here you can see the suffix. The suffix is ship. So this is a typical suffix, suffico, at the end of the word to represent substantivo. For example, we say relationship. Okay, so relationship is the noun, and it's just a typical suffix. And you can also say maybe hardship. You can say premiership, which is the football league, or maybe the prime minister has the premiership, his period of time, or her period of time. So the hardship is the period of time that you have difficulties. So because of the pandemic, a lot of people at the moment have hardships. They have difficult moments and difficult times. So really, really good vocabulary. Heartache, again, very good vocabulary. You have two different words. The hyphen is not necessary because today it's considered one word. Maybe in the past it was possible two words and the hyphen, but today it's just considered one word, heartache, and the pronunciation is important. An ache is a pain. Okay, you have a toothache, you have a headache. Okay, and the pronunciation is, I think you can combine the two as well, toothache, headache, and the pronunciation is like a K. So the CH, almost like a K. For example, stomach, CH, it's like a K. Stomach, headache, toothache, backache. Very good vocabulary, very, very important, but also be careful because the CH sometimes is completely different. For example, church. So the CH is a K here. Toothache like a K, headache like a K, stomach like a K, and we have one more like a chemist. So if you visit the chemist, it's like a K as well. So very, very important pronunciation, chemist. And that's just an example of English pronunciation with the CH. And the other exception is the church, CH, but it's different pronunciation. And this is English really sometimes. Serenity. If everything is very serene, it's very calm. Adjective, serene. Substantivo, serenity. So again, the importance between the adjective and the noun, and the serenity is like calmness and again, eerie. Okay. Euphoria, good pronunciation. The burden is a brilliant word. Okay. So a burden is like a responsibility, a heavy weight. Okay. A heavy emotional weight. Very, very good vocabulary. It is a verb as well, to burden somebody. Okay, so to burden you with work. The manager gives you a lot of work, but maybe they give you extra work and it's too difficult. So they burden you and you have the heavy weight on your shoulders, metaphorically, for the work. Typical with the person who, or the old person maybe, or the dog. Probably the dog is the better example. So the dog is in the garden and it's impossible for the family to keep the dog. It's impossible for the family to take care of the dog. So the dog is a burden. The dog is a heavy weight on the responsibilities of the family. So it's really, really good vocabulary. And here, the nomads have no burden with the responsibility of the house. So they have no pressure with the house and possessions. You can have, so this is ability, it's a possibility. You can have, and remember, the secret of the modal verb, the next verb is the infinitive, to go, to eat, to have. But because it's modal, we eliminate to. Can go, can have. That's the important rule for the modal verb. Again, article. So a is related to the noun freedom, and the adjective is glorious. So a glorious freedom, article, adjective, noun, and a very American freedom. So again, two adjectives. In the lost tradition of Emerson and Twain, I think these are two writers or two historical people. That's it. Okay, so 2 or 3 difficult paragraphs, very fluent, very native quality for speaking. And you can see the vocabulary here on the right. And tricky, definitely tricky. But this type of activity I think is important because this is the reality. This is real English. And again, the best thing for you to do, the best way to improve is to read. You need to read a book. You need to read a magazine on your phone. You need to read regularly. That's really the best way to improve your grammar, the best way to identify grammar, and the best way to learn vocabulary. It's really the secret. You need to practice reading. Again, speaking is important, listening is important, writing is important. So every part of English is important. And this is just an exercise today because it's useful for the class. Okay, good. So I think that's sufficient. Every day, just little by little, that's my intention. No phrasal verbs today in the list, no idioms in the list, just good quality vocabulary and good quality article. And that's it. Thank you so much. So we have an opportunity now. If you have questions, you can ask the question in the class. Just put a comment or raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Remember, the class is recorded, so no problem. This will be uploaded later to Facebook. So if you want to be famous for a few minutes, you can ask your question and speak. Remember, social media. If you want to connect on social media, you can join on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can find me there, I hope. So that's all the material, all the links for social media. And I think some people are connected already, but that's a possibility as well. This is the plan today. So again, at 4 o'clock, you can see here, 4 o'clock, we have the business webinar today, business English, another class today at 4 o'clock, business English class. And that will be vocabulary, expressions, debate, and we will listen to a video to practice some listening as well. Everybody is welcome. We have 2 or 3 people confirmed already. And every day we continue a little. Remember today, this is a free class. So thank you to everybody who has supported me a little. Obviously, since the pandemic, a lot of work has changed and my work is the same. So now I'm working from home. I'm working online. I was in Madrid, now I'm in Dublin, and hopefully I can continue working. I'm very happy with this opportunity to teach online for free. And it's a good opportunity for you. And I think hopefully people can learn a little. It's difficult, definitely very, very difficult to learn a language. And sometimes the class is difficult, but I hope that you enjoy a little. And again, the contact here, if you want to make a small donation or a small tip, you are very, very welcome. there's bank details from me are the best. If you want to give me a little tip or to give me a little support, you can donate directly with the bank, and the details are there. The second possibility is the application Revolut, and the third possibility is the application Bizum. So you just need a telephone number or maybe PayPal if you want. Yeah, so it's my job, and thank you for everybody who has helped me so far. It's definitely very nice. I have some support at the moment from the government until I can return maximum work, okay? Because obviously it's still tricky. Okay, good. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope that you have a very good day. And now we will finish the recording on Zoom. And thank you so much, everybody. So I hope you have stay connected on Facebook. And thank you for watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching on YouTube as well. And have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.